Take 10. Been a few sound problems. Episode 6. Today I'm going to cover the wrapping of the exhaust manifold and the fitting of the heat reflective tape to the bulkhead. Also run over the fitting of the filter base plate and general recap on where we are so far. Also, hello Graham and Oz, I hope you're enjoying your 40-degree temperatures. It's 5 degrees here in the garage at the moment, so have a nice day. Okay, so a quick guide onto how I made the heat reflective tape fit on the bulkhead. It came as a big sheet like this. I then used CAD, which anybody who's seen Project Binky will know is a cardboard aided design. So I then cut a piece, right sort of shape. Cut out in that side is for the bit of metal that's on the support bracket for the engine steady. That's the bit I had to re-weld. So that was a cardboard aided design. I then cut it out of foil, and then the idea is that this bit goes back up the bulkhead. I couldn't really put the bits in this corner because there's too many complex curves, and I would never get this stuff to follow the curve very well. And even as it is, I don't think it's going to work, because it came with all these fold lines in it and the creases don't want to come out. One of the jobs I did since the last video is I completed the bracket for the fuel lines there. As per usual, it's way more heavy duty than it needs to be and 4 more times more complicated than it needs to be. I don't have a vast selection of metals to make it from, so Nevin will understand when I say it's made out of scrap weather station parts. Lots of nice alloy knocking about, so that's what I used. You can see on here I've also fitted the base plate to the throttle bodies. It was a bit tight for space, obviously down there to the alternator. I've got very little room. The injectors are in, and the wiring that you saw all completed is fastened in place. It's a little bit awkward in a couple of places, especially. Well, the chances of seeing it have been pretty slim, but under there, if I can get low enough to get at it, it's just where the injector plugs are almost fouling on this bar for the throttle linkage. It's really tight. Other bits that are tight, if I can zoom in, is if it'll focus that bit there, which is the Zeus fastener. It's just to say touching on the fuel rail. You can see, well, you'll struggle to see, but this is probably a better angle. When you look down there, you can see what gap. There is no gap. I need to check on the other 8-port with the mini spares throttle body to make sure it's the same. I don't remember it being as tight as that, so I have to make sure I've got nothing different. And there's the other end, looking down at that pinch point. The injectors that I put in are the 226cc ones, the ones that it comes with. Well, the ones that my kit came with 190cc, so not the best. It's marginal on power. Right, exhaust wrapping time now. There's two schools of thoughts. Some people say it's the best thing since sliced bread, which is sort of the camp I fall into, because it stops your bulkhead from getting baking hot, and obviously that stops heat from being transmitted back into the cabin of the car, especially on this one where even on the 5-port it got really hot inside, because there's no sound deadening or anything of that between you and the engine bay really. And the second school of thought is that it rusts the manifolds. The claim is that the condensation forms between the wrap that you put around it and the metal, and it creates rust. Well, I fitted heat wrap and heat tape and heat paint to all my manifolds and never had that problem. Maybe they just don't last long enough for it to be an issue. So yeah, the trick with this stuff is we put it on first, and then what we do is we paint it with some of this stuff, which is well, it's exactly the right stuff. It's the exhaust insulating wrap coating. Gives it a nice silver finish, and you do all the metal work as well, and it keeps a little bit of heating by itself, but it also makes the wrap last longer. Now the trick for fitting it, well, it's quite a pain in the backside, is you wrap it round like that. You put a tie wrap on one of the supplied tie wraps, and then you work your way around overlapping, but you see instantly you get the issue of you got all this getting in the way, and you're constantly messing on doing this, trying to wrap it round and not get yourself sound's gone up, and not get yourself all tangled up. Oh, computer's playing up. So what I tend to do is try and do that as much as I can, cut it to length, because I'm only going to go down to here somewhere, just below the lambda boss, somewhere in about here where the join is, and then fit it when it's just in a one long length as opposed to one roll. The other thing I do is squirt it with water as well as you're going along. It does say somewhere on the instructions that you get with the proper kit that you're supposed to damp it, because it's all the little fibres. You're probably not going to be able to see them on here. I'll hold it up to the camera. It's probably not going to see them, but all across the surfaces here is all the little fibres that create the material, and it's just like fiberglass, and it gets under your clothes and then on your skin, and it itches like a bastard. So damp it down as you're working, wrap it on, secure it with the straps, and then leave it to dry for a day or two, or maybe longer in this temperature, and then paint it. that's one done. It's not perfect, but it'll do the job. I have to make sure I leave a decent gap there, because that's where the stud goes and it's really close to the edge of the manifold. That side's going to be fine. Stopping it there for easiness, so I don't have to go around the lambda boss. But yeah, it's looking alright. Right, so that's that pairing done. Now we've got to do the other one. Should be a little bit easier. Turn that down a bit. You see it there. It's I'll probably just wrap down one side and then loop it across to there, and then go back up all in one section. You can't go too far down because there's not enough room between the two branches of the manifold to clear. I've had to adjust it with a big hammer, and the same on the other piece to get it to the wrapping to go all the way down. So it definitely can't go any further down than about there somewhere. Probably where the join is. Right, I'm not exactly happy with that bit on there. It's I haven't got it tight enough as I've wrapped it round. There's a bit of slack in it. You just want to see that. So what? And it's also really awkward going around this lambda boss as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that bottom clamp off and undo it, and then just do it again. And then obviously do the other side, and then fasten all these clamps up really tight, stop it from moving, and then just leave it for a few days to dry. And after I paint it, put it on the car. Right, so this is the manifold after I've wrapped it. What I did was I came back out this evening and redid a lot of it. Really struggled with it because I think the wrap was a lot stiffer than the ones I've used before, and it didn't pull tight and form to the curves as well as previous ones have done. I also couldn't get the straps that hold it in place to go tight either, so I ended up using the kit we have for doing CV joint boots and used them all the way around. I'll put some extra ones on there just to get it tight and stop it from moving. It's acceptable now, so all I need to do now is just leave it to dry for a couple of days, and then it'll be ready for paint.